beautiful people. Today we're going to be doing Trinidadian Bakes. These are so brilliant. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, used to make these for me when I was a little girl, and I used to stay at her house. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd be like, Nanny, please bake bakes, please bake bakes. And she'd do, well, it wasn't a full English, it'd be fried eggs and bacon, maybe a fried tomato, and bakes. And they are just so gorgeous. I thought they were the best thing ever. And they are so easy to do. And I know the recipe sounds really grim because it's just like flour, water, salt, and all to fry it in. And it's just kind of like, seriously, what can you make with that? Just bear with me. These are so brilliant to know. Admittedly, there's not really a way to do this in a low-fat way in the oven. If anybody can figure that out, please let me know. But they are fried, which is why I'm getting this heated up. This is going away here. Yeah, oh gosh, she says don't move it. That's really silly. But they are brilliant if you've run out of bread and you want to have something for your breakfast. Now, my son has these with baked beans, which when you see them, you might think, they're a bit weird because they're kind of like a roll, really. But he loves them. And the kids are all thoroughly happy when they're there. In fact, I think they sometimes hope to run out of bread so we can have them. But they are just so easy to make. So I'm going to get straight into it and show you this flour and this water. First I'm going to do is put some salt in. This is self-raising. You can use plain and a bit of baking powder. Pretty much sort of baking powder you use for a cake. I know sometimes I put in a little extra baking powder and make them extra puffy, but this should be fine. So salt. I have no idea how much that is, but to say half a teaspoon. I shall double check for you, but yeah, about that. So we'll just get some water. Oh, nearly chopped it. That would have been entertaining. Not for me, but for you. And it's just a case of making a dough, which is just, that's it really. It's hardly like, you know, MasterChef. Let me see, I might need a little bit more water. I've just got a little bit more water because I didn't have enough. But the reason I'm doing it like this is because I normally do it to sight. I don't actually measure things out. This, as I said, it's not a recipe that I've had lying around. It's one of these ones taught to you by your family that you pass down to generations. So I'm measuring everything as I'm actually making them now. So I can put the exact ingredients into the description for you so you'll know exactly how much you need. I personally like these to be a little bit wetter than dry. Usually these are in an actual kind of like a dough that you can knead quite easily, but personally, I don't know where to put that now. Personally, when the dough's wetter, it rises higher. That's what I find. This is a bit drier than I normally would use. But, where is this? No, do you know what? This will be fine. This will be absolutely fine. So, that's what you've got, basically. A very basic dough. Sticky. You know, you don't need to knead it or anything. I mean, I've got arthritis, so I would have used a dough hook if I had to knead anything, but you don't need to. It's literally that simple. So you mix the water and the flour, so it is a sticky dough, and it's going to look a little ugly. But don't panic. And there are going to be some Trinidadians going like, oh, am I not like that? Yeah, I know. Okay, fine. This is from my granny and from my nenny, and this is how she made them. Now, I'm hoping, I don't know how hot this is. As I said, this is the new hob thing we use, and to find out how hot it needs to get, I'm just going to dump in, if I can get it off my fingers. There we go, that's absolutely bang on. It's sizzling away, which is fab. So what I do, just to let you know when I do these, they're so sticky, so sticky, is I press down the middle. So I make a little dimple in the middle. Can you see how my fingers are? So they're almost touching, and I tell you why, because they puff up like crazy in the middle, and that's the bit that doesn't really cook very well. God, I've got to get this off my hands and get this out of here. This should be a little hotter, so I'm going to turn that up. That's doing okay. It's bubbling away, so that's not too bad. But obviously, the more you put in, the cooler the oil's going to get. So you're going to need to heat it up a bit. Like I said, these are sticky. Most bakes, you'll find that the Trinidadians manage to make them really smooth, but I just find they get a bit lighter when the dough is stickier, so it's a personal preference. If you can't bear the sticky dough and you don't mind them being a little bit denser, then by all means, you know, have a little bit of flour. But this is it's the way I like it. I might actually ask Simon for a little bit of flour so I can put them on the plate. Otherwise they will get stuck. So bear with me a second. And we're back. So I thought I might as well actually do some that are a bit smoother, because as I said, there's some people out there that might not like the sticky ones. And I like the sticky ones, and you'll be able to tell the difference anyway, because I will do both. So I've done sticky ones there, which I think are going to be lighter. They usually are, but they are a bit uglier. And I've just asked Simon for a little bit more flour to do neater ones. And I don't know if you can see that dimple in the centre on both sides with my messy hands. And why is this gone? Is this turned off? Because it's not bubbling away. Should be a little bit feistier than that. I mean, really properly bubbling. And it seems to have just adjusted itself. But I'll pop this one on and hope for the best. It's really, really not that excitable. It's bubbling. It's still bubbling. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, just so you don't have to get bored watching me do these over and over again. Oh, this is the other thing I was going to say. When I need them, take a piece off. Don't know if you see through my floury hands, but you just fold the outside. Just get rid of all this stuff on my hands, actually. Fold the outside in. Fold the outside in. Fold the outside in. Without hitting the bowl. So you just get the outside, turn it in, and push. Get the outside, turn it in, and push. Turn it in and push. Turn it in and push. Turn it in and push. And you do this all the way around the edge until it's smooth. Now, obviously, because I've been making these since I was like, 8, I could do them quite quickly. She says, flinging dough everywhere still. And when you fry them up, you'd fry them like you'd fry anything in a frying pan. You pop them in, and then when the bottom has gone a sort of toast brown, that's what you're looking for, a toast brown. Obviously flip it over. But there's something else as well. Once you've flipped it over and then the other side has gone toast brown, you then have to do the sides, which sounds a bit crazy because they're round, but because they puff up this way, when they're like that, you can angle them on their edges. So these aren't ready yet. Oops. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this hob. It seems to have put on some sort of safety catch and turned itself off because it's just not doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these going, and then when they've been round on both sides, I'm going to come back and show you what I do for the sides. So bear with me, see you in a moment. Hello my darlings, I just cut away there and I've come back as a re-edit because we were having some problems with this hob. I realised it was just basically because this isn't the proper hob that we have in the kitchen, because our kitchen is tiny, that it was taking a long time to heat up because it's just a little electric hob on its own. So I went and blitzed these in the hob in the kitchen and then brought this out when this had heated up and the oil had heated up, so I can actually cook in front of you now. Hooray! So I was just going to show you, I already did the first two, which were the dough that was a bit messy and sticky. And I don't know if you can see, show you really close up, how much higher that has risen. It's quite a chunky monkey. And yeah, it looks a little bit messy and stuff, but it is really so much higher. And you can see also around the edges where I've had to brown them. So you do one side and then you flip over and you do the other side. And then when they're done, you pour them on the sides. You can see here, these two are on their sides, getting done. Again, just to say, don't touch things from a hot pan in hot boiling oil. It's just, I have very weird hands. So I can handle stupidness like hot oil, which is really weird. I would have been invincible in the Middle Ages when they chucked boiling oil over those walls. Anyway, back to the cooking. Yeah, so this is what you do, is once you've got them, you can see these are getting brown on the right side. So they then go on their sides. And then you have to sort of just turn around. It doesn't take long. As you can see, these are already, I think it's already midway there. I will just call Simon and ask for my tongs though. And we're back. Yeah, even though I have got asbestos fingers, I'm not going to be silly. So I will be telling them with these because it just makes life a little easier. If you don't have these, just, do them with the this or a spoon. I can't remember. I don't know what half these things are called. I call it a fish slice. Is it fish slice? Big spatula? I don't know. Anyway, again, I'll find out. Put it in the description, let you know. Same with these tongs. They are just superb. So I will put the link to the ones... Actually, I'll put the link to everything I use. Although I don't know if I'm ready to be able to review this hob just yet. I mean, it's doing the job now, thank goodness. It takes a little while. So as I said, right, again, please don't touch these straight out of the pan. I have weird hands. I can handle burning oil, hot things. So please just remember these will be hot as Hades when you take them out. So as you can see, I've browned around the edges. And you can see there is, I think, a slight difference. I mean, it doesn't really look that much, actually. I'm looking at it straight in front of you. But there is. It is just a tiny bit fluffier. But, you know, I mean, I think these ones are actually quite wet, these ones. Yeah, these are a little tiny bit flatter. As I said, it won't make it denser. It'll still be fluffy. It's just, I don't know, this just kind of has a lighter crumb to it when it's a wetter dough. I find a wetter dough gives a bit of a lighter go to it. So I'm just doing the edges of these. And, oops, I'm going to use the tongs, be careful. Just so I can do the edges, because as you see, when I'm frying them, they've done beautifully, front and back, lovely, lovely, but the sides just need browning off, and it just cooks them through. So, as you can see with this one, that side's now done, so now I'm going to have to do it on one of the other sides now. So you just sort of lean them against the edge, pop them in the oil, let them fizzle away and do their thing. And while that's going, I'll pop these last few ones in. These flat ones have been on the plate, just waiting, just sitting around, doing nothing, minding their own business. So they're a bit stuck to the plate, but that's okay. Just scoop them off, give them a little tidy, flatten up a bit around the edges, and pop them in. And that'll sizzle away. I don't know if you can hear the sizzle. Hear the sizzle? Ooh, not sound effects, actual real sizzle. So just pop this last one in. There she goes. There we go. So I was saying that earlier when I was doing the sticky ones, I wouldn't put them on the plate like that because they're so sticky. They would just be a globular mess. So I leave it in the bowl and then I take those ones out individually. And although I was showing you the method of, you know, folding and all that stuff, it's not as easy when they're sticky. So you kind of just do what you can, get it into a rough bap rolled cob, whatever you come from, whatever part of the country you're from, shape. And then just put them straight in the pan. And that's how I do them individually, straight from the mix, straight to the pan. But as I said, if you're going to use the dry mix, which is the more traditional, then you can, you know, just put them all out on the plate ready to pop into the pan when you're ready. It's basically a personal preference. So these going, finally. And it turns out it was just taking a long time to just heat up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let you guys go. I'm going to carry on with these and finish them off, and then when they're done I shall come back and show you what they look like inside and get some cold butter ready, because they are lush with cold butter on when you cut them open. And as I said, it's basically just like quite a firm roll. I'm trying to think of any kind of bread that it might be. You know, homemade bread, if you've ever had homemade bread, it has a much firmer texture than shop bought bread. And it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a homemade bread, but it is still very fluffy, because you do have these hot, when we have them for our breakfast, or sometimes we have an all-day breakfast for dinner. Oh, I do love all-day breakfasts. Anyway, so sometimes we do that, and if the kids want baked, or if I want baked, I will do them there and then. So they come out hot, ready, nicely piled up in a plate on the table with the butter. I'll be honest with you, you'll have one, you'll be like, oh, I want a million of those. You probably only manage about 2, because they're very filling. So you don't need a huge amount. I mean, this will feed everybody with stuff left over here. That's like a family of 4. And as I said, the kids are going into that teen phase where they just eat everything that's not nailed down. So even they probably won't be able to finish all of this. So I'll have a couple left over, which again, the kids love. Nuke to the microwave for a couple of seconds with some butter for breakfast with some jam. I said my son has them with beans. I love them with fried egg and bacon. But even on their own with a cup of tea, absolutely lush. So I'm going to shut up now and I will come back and see you when these are done. See you in a mo. Right, my lovelies, hello, I'm back again. Obviously it's been no time for you whatsoever, but it's been absolutely ages for me because I decided to go off and get some butter because I wanted to cut these open once I'd done them to show you. Now, this was, as I said, the one I showed you at the beginning, I was like, oh, they don't look very different. I realised this actually was the end of the wet dough. And this slightly firmer dough, I mean, it's not a huge difference. You know, I mean, I wouldn't bother getting my ruler out and stuff, but I just personally think that the wetter dough is nice and fluffy. So I'll cut them both open so you can see what I mean. The inside, it is bread. Lovely, just easy, simple, delicious. And it tastes fantastic. I mean, literally it's yeast-free bread, which... the yeast is the thing that just makes it rise. I mean, it does make a nice flavour, admittedly. I think I could personally taste it when in a home-cooked loaf. But you can see the difference. I don't know if you can, but you can see the difference in density of the crumb in there. That's a little bit denser. It's still really bouncy and fluffy and light. And that's, oh, just splitting them open. That's a little bit more air, I think it's just basically because when it's wetter dough, when the air rises, it can expand a little better and then set into a fluffier thing. So basically, like, I mean, I'm not going to teach you to suck eggs, but you would just get your butter. Oh, that's a little load of butter there. Oops. Get your butter, spread it on, and there you go. It's basically, as I said, it's just bread. I'm not going to eat it because it's lovely and I'll probably make really horrible noises, and that's not very nice because I think that's one of the worst noises in the world is hearing someone eat. And I've got a microphone right there. But honestly, you will not be disappointed if you try it. I'm putting too much butter on again. You will not be disappointed. Give them a go. I mean, don't wait necessarily until you run out of bread, but if you do, at least you know you've got this recipe. If you have any problems, please get in touch, let me know. It's really straightforward. Basically, salt in the flour, water in the flour, mix it up. I've given you the recipe for I'd say a perfect dough. If you find it's a little bit too dry, then add a tiny bit more water as you go to get it to the consistency you like. If you find it a tiny bit wet, put and sprinkle a bit more flour, mix it up, and again, see what you get. It's trial and error, but to be honest, you can't really go wrong. It's very straightforward. It's basically flour and water and salt mixed together, made into a little bun, squidge in the middle, make a dimple on both sides, and then fried in oil. And then turn it over, do the sides, cut it in half, eat and be happy. That's it. Really easy. And as I said, so these are the Trinidadian Bakes that my grandmother, Ninny, helped me to learn how to make. She made the best ones ever, so I just hope mine are as good as hers. Just enjoy making them, enjoy eating them. And again, thank you so much for joining in and watching another one of my videos. And if this is the first one, check some others out. You never know, you might like them. And if you do, let me know. Good thumbs up, subscribe, like, all the rest of it. I love it all. If you do this recipe, you know I love to see your pictures or your feedback and all the other bits and pieces. Lots of lovely positive things. And yeah, just thanks so much for joining me for this. Have a really good time eating them and making them if you do. And I will look forward to seeing you again in another video. Take care, babes. Bye.